Welcome back. Alright, so we're going to work on assignment 2 now. So assignment 2, get a 2 on the top. Looks like this. Right here, it's pretty. Okay. We're going to start with the transversal problem. So number 1. Through the list. Okay, so I've got my 2 parallel lines. And we know they're parallel because I'm going to put a little arrow right here that tells me they're parallel. And I've got 2 transversals. I'm going to back this one up a little bit. There's my other transversal. Now I do not know if these are parallel or not because I don't tell you, but I did tell you that these 2 are parallel, so just treat these as two separate transversals. So number 1 wants to know the corresponding angles, and they're labeled 1, 2, this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 8, and 9. So the corresponding angles, there's one on the same side of the transversal, and there needs to be one outside the parallel lines and inside, so the exterior and the interior. Now if I look at this, I only have one angle on this side labeled, so it's not going to be on this side. On this side, both of them are inside, so it can't be corresponding. Over here, I've got one outside and one inside, but they're still touching each other. They need to be the same measure, the corresponding angles. Now down here, that doesn't work either, because these are the same measure, but these 2 aren't. Now, since I just said that, we know that 6 and 9 are corresponding angles. So corresponding, abbreviating, I've got 6 and 9. Now keep going. So I look at this far side, I've got 5 and 7. That's not going to work. I've got 5 and 8. That'll work. They're the same measure. They're on the same side of the transversal. Excuse me. And one is outside and one is inside. So my next set is 5 and 8. Next step, I have alternating interior angles. So alternating interior. So that means they both need to be inside, and one needs to be on the left side of the transversal, and one needs to be on the right side of the transversal. So I got nothing here, which means this one's totally out, because then one has to be on this side and one has to be on this side, so that's fine. When I look over here, I only have 3 interior angles on this line, so I look to see which ones are opposite, and I've got 6 and 8. They're the same measure, so that wins, 6 and 8. 6 and 8. Okay. Now, vertical angles. So I'll find my vertical angles. Now remember, vertical angles are where 2 lines cross. It doesn't have anything to do with the rest of them, so I'd look at one crossing section at a time, and then they're opposite angles. So they're literally opposite of each other. So if I look at this first section, sure enough, 1 and 2 are opposite angles. There's an intersection of these 2 lines, and 1 and 2 are opposite each other. So they're the same measure, they're opposite sides. So 1 and 2. I can look at this next section. There's only one angle, so that one's done already. I look at this. All of them are vertical angles. 5 and 6 are vertical, and 4 and 7 are vertical. So I've got 5 and 6, 4 and 7. And I look at my last one. 8 and 9 are also vertical angles. I like vertical angles. Okay, so there's the first part. Make some more room. Now, it lists same side interior angles. Same side meaning same side of the transversal and inside the parallel lines. So, same side, interior. I've got 2 and 3. Now if I look at my other side of the transversal, I've got 7 and 8. Now, same side exterior. So I need outside the parallel lines. So if I look at my first transversal, I only have one exterior angle anyway, so that one's already out. I look over here. 4 and 9 are both outside the parallel lines and on the same side of the transversal. So same side, exterior angles. 4 and 9 win. Okay. And that's the end of that. Whew, that was hard. Oh my goodness. No, it wasn't hard. Oh, we've done so many of these now. You should know them like the back of my dirty marker hand. Look, see, it's all over me all the time. This black stuff doesn't go away now. Alright, so number 6 starts out with, let's see, the instructions are, there's a triangle with angles 1, 2, and 3. So we'll start out with our triangle. And I will use this all the way through. So I've got 1, 2, and 3. And that's just how they identify the angles. So just how I use X, Y, and Z sometimes. They're just using 1, 2, and 3. So, and it tells me for number 6 that the measure of angle 2 equals 50. The measure of angle 3 equals 80. Now we know that a triangle is always 180 degrees total. So I just take my 180 minus my 2 angles. So I've got my 180 equals X plus 50 plus 80. So my missing angle is 50 degrees. And that's all. Good, good, good. Alright, so the next one. They tell me that angle 2 is equal to 65. And angle 3 is equal to 40. So I do the same thing. I have 180 equals X plus 65 plus 40. Now you'll notice I use X. That's just a placeholder. That's letting me know that I'm missing something and that's what I'm looking for. Even though technically I'm looking for angle 1, if I put a 1 in there, I might get confused and try to take that 1 over. So I like to use an X. But if you can write in the measure of angle 1 instead of X and just know that that's what you're looking for and that's what you're going to find, then that's perfectly fine. So, so I've got 180 minus 65 and 40. X is equal to 41, or the measure of angle 1 is equal to 41. And that's number 7. So the next one, number 8, gives us angle 1 and angle 3. It tells us that angle 1 is equal to 75 degrees and angle 3 is equal to 20. So I do the same thing. 180 is equal to X plus 75 plus 20. My X is equal to 85. Or the measure of angle 2 is equal to 85 degrees. Okay? Let's see, 1 and 3 again. Alright, so now I've got the measure of angle 1 is equal to 60. The measure of angle 3 is equal to 30. I do the same thing. 180 equals X plus 60 plus 30. X is equal to 90 degrees. Or the measure of angle 2 is equal to 90 degrees. And that's all there is. There isn't any more. Start singing again like we do in class. Wouldn't that be something? You guys can make fun of me from a distance. Okay, so the next question, number 10. It says to draw a line M. So it's telling you that you should draw a line and label it M. Not mark a point on it M, but actually label the entire line M. So we'll start out with that. We draw our line. And I'm just going to put a little M down here on the end. That's all it wants me to do. And then it says to construct a line to mark a point Q not on the line. So it just says to find a random spot and go like that. Literally, just like that. Label it Q. That's step 2. Step 3 is construct a line through the Q that is parallel to the first line that we drew, line M. So I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to make a line, and I'm going to put my little arrow on it, so I know that it's parallel. And that's all it wants. And we're done. Alright, next up, number 11. Find the slope of the line passing through the points 7, 4, and 5, 12. So this is slope, rise over run. So we've got slope, which is equal to m, which is equal to rise over run, which is equal to the change in y over the change in x. So y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Okay, and we have our points 7, 4, and 5, 12. So I'll label my x's and y's. x1, y1, x2, y2. It doesn't tell me to label anyone specifically, so I can pick. So now I'm going to take my y2, 12, minus my y1, which is 4, over 5, which is my x2, minus 7 is equal to 8 over negative 2, or negative 4. So this is telling you that if we were going to construct this on a graph, on a coordinate plane, I won't do it exactly, but we'll just say we'll start here. Then I'm going to go up 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then backwards, because it's negative, 2, 1, 2. So this is where I would construct my point. Now if I wanted to make a line, now again, generally you would start from one of these points, but that's the idea. You're going to go up 8, and then left 2, and good. Alright, so that's our slope. Number 12 says to draw MN as a line and a point T on the line. So our first step is to draw MN as a line. And that MN means that on this line they're just already identifying 2 points, M and N. And then it wants me to add point T. So here's my T. Now it says to construct the line perpendicular to MN at point D. That means I need to make a line perpendicular to my original line, and it's going to cross at point T. And it says line, so it has to go all the way through. Now, to let everybody know that I just drew in a perpendicular line, remember I need to draw in my little 90-degree angle. That means that it's going straight through the line. And that's number 12. Okay, so number 13 gives us triangle A, B, and C. So we've got A, B, and C. It tells us that these two sides are equal. We've got our little hash marks here. It tells us that this is Y, this is X, and this angle is equal to 50 degrees. Now, since I know that these two angles are equal, the only thing I need to solve for are X and Y. So these two angles are equal, or these two sides are equal, which means these two angles are going to be equal, which means this is an isosceles triangle. So I already know, because of these little marks here, that X is equal to 50. Now I know two of my angles, so I need to subtract them from 180. So 180 minus 50 equals 80. Y equals 80. And that's degrees. And that's all 13 was looking for. Alright, so the next set of problems, or the questions, are asking about this triangle. This one actually is an S this time, not a 5. And this is P. And it asks us questions such as, list the congruent angles. Well, congruent angles meaning the same, congruent meaning the same. So if I look at this, SOP is equal to POR because it both represents these angles. So measure of angle SOP is equal or congruent to the measure of angle POR. Okay, now because these are the same, and this is cut at a 90-degree angle, I can tell you that these two angles are the same up here. So, and that's listed this way, because again, the angle needs to be at our vertex, and the vertex needs to be the middle letter. So, the measure of angle SPO is equal to the measure of angle RPO. And as long as the P is in the center, it doesn't really matter which angle or which endpoint S or O goes to first, as long as it goes 1 and then P and then back down, one way or the other. Okay. It wants to know which sides are congruent. Well, PO is just one side, so it can't be congruent to anything else. And it tells us that SO and RO are equal. So we already know that SO, and this is a segment, because technically these are endpoints here, right? These are segments, is equal to OR. And since both of these angles are the same, I can tell you that both of these sides are the same. So SP is equal to RP. Alright. Now last one, it gives us triangle. And it tells us that all the angles are the same. And this side is A. This side is 2x minus 5. And this side is y plus 3. Now since all the angles are the same, then I can assume that all of the sides are the same. So if this side equals 8, then that means this side equals 8 and this side equals 8, which means I set up two different equations to find my x and y. So 8 equals 2x minus 5. So that is plus 5, cancel out. I've got 2x equals 13, divide by 2. X is equal to 13 halves. So there's my x. Now I need to solve for the y. I've got 8 equals y plus 3. Y equals, so subtract my 3, y equals 5. Okay? Alright. And that is the end of assignment 2. Yay! Okay, bye! Bye!